Join me today on the Basler BT-67, an upgraded DC-3. This particular airframe today is 82 years old and still going strong. They come down from Canada every year to run missions for White Desert in Antarctica during the southern summer, and we've got the privilege to take a couple of flights on them above the ice. This is the Basler BT-67, my first time on one of these upgraded, modified DC-3. Amazing to fly one, especially down here in Antarctica. First of hopefully several we'll do on these to get around. It's about a half-hour flight up to the camp where we're staying on this, and I don't know anything else about the flight, but I think it's going to be incredible to be on one of these and see how it compares to the DC-3. I did a video on a DC-3 a couple of years back, year and a half, a couple of years, I don't know, but make sure to check that out too and compare, see what it's like. This is our first flight on one of these. Let's do it.
For takeoff and landing, please keep your seatbelts on at all times. There's a safety card in the back seat pocket and a sickness bag in case of any emergencies.
Believe it or not, despite the light out, this was the middle of the night, so I was a bit tired and only filmed out the window. Not to worry, there's more to see on the return leg. First impressions though, the Basler is noticeably quieter compared to the DC-3 and its older radial engines, as you'd expect.
Just be careful, it's super slippery.
Welcome.
Thank you.
No worries. Do you enjoy the flight?
Yeah, it's very
Good.
So we were originally going to do a few flights on the Basler, but the weather didn't cooperate. So I'm going to have a separate video about a couple of flights we did midweek on the Twin Otter. And in this video, the main event is our Basler flight back to Wolf's Fang at the end of our stay at Whichaway Camp. I'm also going to be publishing a video all about the camp and some of the things we did there on my channel separately. So make sure you subscribe to that one too so you don't miss it. I'll put a link down below. Anyway, fast forward a week or so and it's time to leave, which is honestly pretty sad. It's such an incredible crew working here and we've gotten to know them really well during this visit. That's been part of the magic of this trip. But we've got the Basler coming to take us back to Wolf's Fang again today, so that's a definite silver lining. Alright, it's time for round 2 on the Basler, and now it's not the middle of the night, so I'm a little more awake, hoping to shoot a little bit more in depth on this amazing aircraft. It's a DC-3 that's been converted, upgraded in many senses, basically overhauled into an air aircraft, but that classic DC-3 frame is still intact, and it's just an amazing combination of upgraded modern technology and props and avionics, everything, with that unbelievable classic wartime, World War II era airframe, tail wheel aircraft, you can tell it's cold, and just like nothing you'll see in most of the world these days, and so incredibly rare to get to fly on one of these full stop, let alone in Antarctica. I mean, I can't think of much cooler in terms of sort of core aviation experiences, memories. This is amazing. So I'm hoping to chat to the pilots and maybe they're gonna let me sit up in. I hope. Crossing our fingers.
Sounds good. Props are up. Okay, skis are coming up.
Left or right turnout, you think?
I think you're right. So
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
usually I'll avoid it if it's late. They don't wake up Novo, but
Oh, yeah.
they're okay today. Get your tail wheels locked.
Alright, let's give her.
What's that, sorry?
75 on the way back?
Yeah, whatever you want.
Yeah.
Okay, it's all clean. Flaps are good. Auto fillers off. Climb tire set. Engine instruments are all good and green. Lights are off. Guys are off. Turboprops, prop sync transferring. All good.
Sounds good to me.
Fang, it's DXQ.
DXQ Wolfgang, pass message.
Landing in 10 minutes, 10 minutes.
Roger, thanks very much. See you soon.
You're in range.
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, fuel quantity.
Sufficient.
Hydraulic quantity pressure.
Got the juice pressure's up.
Brakes.
Brake
Tail wheel.
is locked.
Ice.
Speedos
Altimeters.
set to before.
Drop sync.
Off.
HPWS.
Inhibited.
Yep.
Is it good?
Yeah.
Cool.
Sounds good.
Right. Sounds good. What do we got? I'll start her down slow. Take it to 1,000 on the right off.
Sounds good.
Alright, down to 5. We're going on the befores.
Okay. Tony's got everyone in the back bundle. The props are coming up. Fully on gear and flat. Hey, Ty, you got everyone buckled? No, it's my sides are 200 in the
Full
red.
flaps.
Okay, full flap. There's 2, 3, and full flap is in, and again full flap. Here's down, going through 140 on the rattle. 99. down.
Coming down, let me know when.
That's good there.
Alright.
All good in the twin.
Yep, all good. Lots of space.
Okay, shutdowns. Power props.
Welcome back to Wolf's
Thank you so much, you guys. That was amazing. You mind me asking
Good
how
trip?
old you are?
19.
19.
Yeah,
Amazing.
yeah.
You're flying this thing down here?
Yeah, it's fun. A lot of fun, yeah.
When did you first get your license?
I got my commercial when I was 18.
Okay.
And then my first season down here was last year, so I was like 18 and a half and change.
Wow. What a place to kind of start your
Oh
career,
yeah,
right?
oh man, is it ever? Yeah, can't ask for much more fun, unique flying, right?
Amazing. What was your name?
James.
James.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm Gabe.
Gabe right now. And Flight Radar, like
Yeah.
the YouTube for Flight Radar.
Yeah.
Okay.
Have you ever
right.
come across it?
I
don't
have
know.
not. No, I didn't
Okay,
even
you
know they
should
had a
check it out.
YouTube.
Yeah,
I
we have
definitely
a whole
will.
thing all over the world.
I might see myself up there now.
You will, definitely.
Cool.
Okay, there's the weather you landed in.
The word. We came down here last year through
I'll do this. You go up there.
through Ushuaia,
Yeah.
and it was pretty sporty.
Okay.
Yeah, it was like 40 knot wind and change. It was
40 knots departing Ushuaia?
No, on the way in.
Okay.
It was yeah, and this airplane doesn't handle wind just the best, so it was sporty.
Yeah.
Sporty is the best word for it.
What are the kind of limitations in terms of wind
Um,
for this aircraft?
That's about it. That's about it. There isn't really a I think the max demonstrated is like 15 or something.
Okay.
So not very much. You can do more than that, but that 40s, that's about it.
Flying in Antarctica,
Yep.
special considerations here, like that you wouldn't have to deal with anywhere else?
It's kind of unique here because the snow, it's a white surface on the ground. If you get like any overcast cloud, you can get into like flat light and poor contrast. So even though visibility and ceiling is great, you can't really see very much. So that's kind of something to consider down here. And then landing conditions, like if it's warm, the snow gets soft. On skis, it's a bit of a different ballgame, but you pick it up pretty quick. It's nothing too tricky. So here on ice, we land on wheels, and then on snow, it's always skis. So Whichaway, Wolf's Fang, it's all blue ice, so we're wheels. And then our fuel depot, the South Pole, the Active Bay where the penguins are, that's snow, so it's all on skis.
Those are snowy landing strips that are unprepared, basically. Or?
No, they're prepared. Most places have a piston bully, like a ski hill groomer type thing, and they kind of smooth it out and everything. So they have it set up for us, but it is still snow, so it's on the skis.
If you have to land on something unprepared, is it?
We've done it before. We don't do it so much with this airplane just because it's kind of big and heavy, and you can get into rough snow sometimes. But the Twin Otter, it'll do some off-field stuff, like they do a trip out to the bottom of the mountains there from time to time, so that they do some off-field stuff in the Twin.
Okay.
So yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, it's good fun.
You think you'll end up doing this for a long time to come, every season?
It's hard to say. I'm enjoying it, so I'm gonna keep doing it. It's a lot of fun for sure. So yeah, no, definitely gonna keep at it.
Where are you normally based? When you're
So I live just outside of Toronto. The company's based in Oshawa, so they do flying all over the place. Do this stuff in the winter with the Baslers. We have 3 other survey Baslers that do low-level survey flying all over the world, and then in the summers these airplanes usually go up and do cargo flying up north. So
Amazing.
bit of variety, so it keeps it interesting.
There can't be too many of these flying in the world, right?
I think so they're done by Basler Turbo Conversions in Oshkosh, and I think they've converted about 80 of them.
80, okay.
About that. They're not all still flying, but there's ballpark, something like that. So
Amazing.
So yeah, pretty unique airplane for sure.
Amazing last flight on the Basler to get back to Wolf's Fang. A flight deck like no other, really. And what a cool group of guys here working. They've got the mechanic, they've got the captain and first officer, and another guy to help out with the operation. And they're all really cool. So I'm the last of the plane, as usual. Let's get down these stairs and try not to fall over out onto the ice. Once we were at Wolfsfang, I got to meet Brian Bookhartz, who founded Enterprise Air back in 1994, and his wife Rhonda, who's director of cabin safety at the company. They bring the aircraft down from Canada every year, and they say it's often pretty interesting, as you might imagine.
Last year we got the new iron, and the weather was supposed to close in by lunchtime, so we thought we could get out, at 8 o'clock and get here. But we got up, we could just see the airplane. After breakfast, we couldn't see the airplane, but we still went out to it and realized that the storm had come early, so we just secured the airplane. It was in a 3-day blizzard. Of course, after the blizzard, then you have to dig the airplane out, which is quite a job.
Standing on the tire with a not a toothbrush, but a really gentle brush so that we could get the snow out. And I was brushing all the bits inside underneath the rail walls.
We left there after dinner, so we got here at around, 10 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
To a cold camp, right? And we actually we didn't stay here. We got a skidoo out and we went over to Echo, and we had to get into the pods. But the pods, of course, they put plywood on there. And you have to unscrew them. So we had to get our Leatherman and unscrew it, not knowing that Graham had left a power drill at one of them, but we weren't at the right one. So.
I can open. All right, here we go.
I got my pilot's license in Oshawa. The company that I worked for, they operated old piston DC-3s. And they actually did passenger flights between Oshawa and Detroit for the GM people. So it was me, another guy, Wally Clow, and Manny Rosario. We knew it wasn't going to last, so we started our own company called Enterprise Air in about 1994. From there, we got our own DC-3, which was actually this airplane as an old piston DC-3. We got involved with this guy, Mike McDowell, that had a company called Adventure Network doing Antarctic stuff with a Basler DC-3. And he wanted somebody to operate it, so we ended up doing that for him. Then he sold the airplane to another group, ALCI Cape Town. They did stuff out of Novoladorskaya, and mainly serving Dromeland area. And also we were the first ones to fly from Progress to Vostok, supplying the Russian Antarctic expedition. So then from there, we actually met Patrick, because Patrick started doing stuff with White Desert there in Whichaway, or right beside Novo Station. A few years went by, and then he was looking for, someone that could cater only to him. So we started with one airplane, one Basler, and then we got a Twin Otter, and then a second Basler. So
at the time, we'd just gotten married. We had our first son. He was 2 weeks old. Brian wasn't working, so I was like, okay, if you want to do this, if this is your dream, let's do it. So he and his friend and his friends, we went to Manny's house. We were in the basement. He's like, okay, this is the dream. We're going to, start this business, and I think it's going to go well. And it's blossomed. I mean, it seems like it's been overnight, but it's been 30 years of working really hard.
But we started in Manny's basement, but we got an office at the hangar, and then we ended up with one hangar, and now we actually have 3 hangars. So we do outside maintenance, we have a flight school, we do all the fueling in Oshawa, so it's all growing.
Becoming a big operation.
Yeah.
And our children have all worked for the company.
So I'm curious about, you were talking a little about it when you sort of bringing the aircraft down from South America and all that. Like, can you just tell us a little bit about what that's like? Flying 5 hours across the Drake, things like that. It sounds very adventurous to those of us who don't do that.
Yeah, well, it's we usually do the same route every year. So from Oshawa, we go down to Nassau in Bahamas. We overnight there. The next day, we go to Panama for a fuel stop, and then Guayaquil, Ecuador, to overnight. Then from there, we go to Arica, Chile, Punta Arenas, Chile, and then crossing the Drake, which, that's the tricky one always because of the high winds, icing, and, the limited alternates that you have going to Antarctica. you know, usually you're the first, maybe not so much in Rothera, but in Neumayer, when you go through there, that's the German base, and they will not have seen anybody for 8 months.
I remember I came here 4 years ago for the first time as a flight attendant, and I was like, and he was like, I'm not sure this is gonna work. But I'm like, ooh, now I got the Antarctic bug, so it's been great.
I've heard about this bug. People
Yes.
get it, right? You come
You
here
get it.
and
You have to
keep coming back.
you have to come back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, everybody has to, there's nobody helping you, or the people help each other, but you have to make your own decisions. Like a pilot, my brother flies for KLM, and everything's, you know, he just gets in the airplane, he goes and does his thing, and everything's prepared, but here you have to make crucial decisions, and you have to improvise sometimes.
And when the A340 pilots come off the plane, they just can't wait to get in the DC-3. They all have to get in the plane. They all want a picture in the cockpit. They're all super excited when they're like, "You're gonna let me come in?" I'm like, "Of course, come in, come see it. It's just family, just come." And they do, yeah, they love it.
And advantages of this aircraft in Antarctica. I mean, talk a little bit about what it lets you do here.
Well, so that's the thing. There's not a lot of airplanes that are ski equipped. The most popular are the Twin Otter and the DC-3. And it was certified on skis back in the 50s when it was, you know, easier to do. But this airplane was, first of all, it's not pressurized, and it was built very robust. So it's a skied aircraft, not having a nose wheel, especially just having the mains as your main, it can survive. It doesn't, get damaged very easily. Because there's not that many, I mean, there are probably about 12 or 15 Basler DC-3s in Antarctica. So, but there's not a, huge market for it, so.
Yeah.
It's a very specialized thing.
Do you think they'll ever build a suitable replacement for this sort of aircraft?
Well, if they did, it would be very expensive. So as long as these planes can continue, I don't think so.
And briefly, I'm curious to hear about how it compares. You're flying one of these, the Baslers versus the the classic DC-3 with the older engines and all that.
It's more of the maintenance, right? The radial engines require a lot of maintenance. If you tried, and the U.S. Navy initially did operate piston DC-3s on skis to the South Pole, you have to preheat them. It would just be very labor intensive, and the reliability as well. Yeah. These engines are very robust, and you can start them in minus 30, whereas you couldn't do that with the piston 3 without preheating. Something
I can say is that I know he's my husband, but his landings are always like hot knife through butter. Like he is, I'll always say that. He's got the best landings, and the people that he trains love him. Like they are excited that they're going to be flying with him. So all the expertise that he has, it's been humbling for me, and I know the guys really appreciate all of his expertise.
But at the moment, there's a big hiring boom. Like the airlines are very... So like one of our captains last year, Charles, and he was meant to come in the first half. He got a job with Air Canada, and he did this for maybe 5 years. But it is hard to get guys, pilots especially, that will want to do this forever.
Yeah.
But we always manage to seem to find somebody. So
yeah.
But from my experience in being in the back, what I love is that everybody's excited. Even, some people struggle with flying and things like that. And I think we try to make it very comfortable for them. So they just feel comfortable right away, and they're kind and they're generous with each other, and they're always happy when they leave. Like they give us hugs. So they feel like they're at home, I think, a little bit when they're on the aircraft. And I think part of our business and part of our life and part of who we are is just to make people feel good and enjoy where they are at every moment. And if they are struggling with something, we try to make things work for them.